The leader wakes up and is in the hospital. The leader's brother says, Zane, how did you get here? The leader says, I took a taxi because I was injured. Boss says, what about Ju Young and Sung Soo? Boss says I took care of everything. Boss says it's thanks to that boy. Boss's brother says, what do you mean? Weren't you injured? How did you do that? If not, you said you went looking for this boy. Did anyone tell you anyway? Is he a high school boy? The leader says, yes. The leader's brother says I was attacked on my way out of the store, but I was able to escape to find him. I ran around there and remembered that he was being beaten. The leader says, I think he knocked you unconscious and sent you to the hospital because you were screaming. The leader says, the groups of Jo Sung, Blue, and Sung Sophie constantly rushed towards me. It looked like I was doomed, but the high school kid showed up in an instant and defeated them and said, I paid off the debt, so they never looked back. This is all I can think about. The leader's brother says, who the hell is this monster? The leader says, it's just a high school student. The story goes to Eugene as he catches the ball. The coach shouts and says, there is a handball. G says, why are you holding the ball in your hand? Are you a goalkeeper? Eugene apologizes to them and says I didn't know that. After finishing the football game, G says, let's go together to play today, okay? Lee says, let's go together tomorrow. He should go to the academy today. Eugene says, first of all, let's go to the internet cafe. I'll take my sister home first and go. My little sister is not feeling well these days. We are going into debt, and she is thinking about what they will eat for dinner today. But she hears the noise of the girls screaming that it is Eugene. He's handsome. He's completely different from my younger brother. Where can I find such a wonderful person? Yuna Dayan gets up. Does your brother have a girlfriend? She smiles and says, he said he doesn't have one. Dayan comes out of the class and thinks, they started talking about him in class a while ago. It's the famous person's right to think about it. Yona asked me if he didn't have a girlfriend twice. Dayan says why he doesn't have a lover. Is there someone who loves him? I expect he will get a lot of confessions. He called her brother and his friends, and told me to accompany your sister home, and then she will come to accompany us. Dayan says, won't you accompany them? He says, no, I will take you home first, and then I will go with them. Dayan says this is because of me. Eugene says to her, no, there is something I would like to bring from home. Dayan says I'm really fine, and go back alone. And also, it's still daytime. You don't have to do this. You even refuse to be Leona's bodyguard. I thought I wouldn't be able to live a normal life if I did that. Eugene says, okay, as you want. But let's go home together. Sometimes Dayan says, you're so worried, but he tells her, it's not because I'm worried, but because I want to see. While they were talking, Yona's older sister called and said, Dayan, who is this lady? Yona's sister looked at her and said, you are that child. Yona has caused a lot of problems. She always says, hey, who are you? She says I'm Yona's cousin. I want to say thank you for saving Yona. I want to invite you to have a meal with me. Can you give me a little of your time? Eugene says, since Yona has already thanked me, there's no need to say it again. Yona's cousin says, confused. What are you waiting for? I have a suggestion for you. Other than that, you won't lose anything if you hear it. Eugene tells her that he is not interested in what she has to say. They decide to leave. The bodyguard says to Yuna's cousin, should I bring him? She says, no, look at that little boy. She says to herself that he is an annoying and arrogant boy. The story moves to Eugene's friends while they are playing. Park says, okay, I'll to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom, but he bumps into one of the people in the place. The stranger looks at her with an angry look and says, did you leave your eyes behind? Park apologizes to him, but he shouts at him and says, you're an idiot. You collided with me. I'll smash your face, you fucker. He tries to hit Park, but while he is trying to hit him, he reaches for me and says, whose face is shattered. Are you screaming just because she bumped into you? He goes to me and says, do we look foolish to you? He then decides to leave and is annoyed. God Park looks at me and says, let's go. We will be late for Hayek Jin. Park says to himself, I did not expect you to help me. They go to play. Jin says, what made you late? Lee says there was a man arguing with Young Chan Park. Jin says what kind of scoundrel is he? Lee says he was wearing a school uniform from Joseok High School. Shin says, are you okay, Park? He says yes. Nothing happened because Lee Hyung helped him instead. They decide to play. They put headphones on their ears and did not hear what was going on around them. While they were playing, the members of Joseok's school came in with problems. A member of Joseok's school says, no, Jin, me, and Park, follow me outside. Go outside. Park says to himself, what should I do? There's been a big problem because of me. I say to one of the students of Joseok school, did you think that I would let things end like this? I left you because there were other people in that place. You will end up today. He tells me that when you were alone, you were so afraid that you could not even make a sound. You have brought your friends now, and you have the courage to speak. But you say that the reason for your retreat is because of the presence of others. The reason you crawled out on your knees was to gain support, wasn't it? He gets angry at his words and attacks him. He says, shut up, you bastard, and tries to hit him. He retaliates and punches him in the face. Park says, while he is afraid, it's all because of me. If I had been a little more careful, Park Young-chan says, you don't need to look like that, because these men are the bad ones, not you. Jin says, isn't that what Eugene said before? He says to me, at that time, Eugene seemed very cool, so I used it unconsciously. Jenny says, what do you mean? It seems that you have been practicing it a lot. The students of Joseok's school became annoyed by their conversation and started attacking them. He says, you scoundrels. Lee attacks him, kicks him, knocks him to the ground, and the other turns to hit him in the face. Park says, I'm afraid. What should I do? I've never fought properly. Jin attacks them and knocks one of them to the ground with a strong punch. Park says, stay back. He tells me that their level seems to be very high, but I am better than them. Park looks and says that they are fighting because of me, and they ask me to stay back. He tells me that he was doing me a good job with one hit. They rise again like zombies. Suddenly, someone kicks him in the stomach with a strong kick. He feels pain and says, damn it, but he attacks him again and tries to punch him in the face. But suddenly Barak attacks him and grabs him with all his strength, and he falls to the ground. He screams and says, you bastard, let go of me. He kicks and hits him, preventing him from evading him, but then he kicks him in the face, causing him to faint. Jin says, you are a hopeless person. Park helped you. Lee gets annoyed with him and says, I was surprised for a moment. He just looks at Park and says, are you okay? He says, yes, I'm fine. I'm sorry because this happened. I'm sorry for everything. Jin says there is no need for that. As he told me when he pretended to be Eugene, it was not your fault. Eugene arrives and searches for them and does not find them. He tries to call but does not find a signal. He says, where did everyone go? I can't even get a call. Wherever he is, he tries to call them. Park, Lee, and Jin arrive. He says, why did you come here now? You missed a great opportunity. Jin says we fought with people from Joe Market High School, and they were 6-3, and we won. Eugene says, really? Let's go talk upstairs. Jin says, we weren't really kidding. Maybe you don't know this, Eugene, but the students at Joseok High School have very good fighting skills. Well, that didn't work for us, though. While they were going upstairs, they came across a group of students lying on the ground. Jin said, why are these scoundrels spread everywhere? Eugene said, I came to look for you, but when I saw that school uniform, I hit them.